Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's series of Coffee and Conversation. For today's episode, we're going to be introducing a grad student named Michelle Pareja. Um, for this program, usually we go ahead and do a liaison between undergrad and graduate students. And then today's topic is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be about Hispanic Heritage Month and how that kind of wraps up into what's happening with the pandemic. So, if Michelle, you could go ahead and introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are.
So hello everyone, my name is Michelle Pareja, as Thalia said. So I am Colombian and Peruvian. I am also a sister of Lambda Theta Alpha. I became a sister this past spring. I also just recently graduated with a Bachelor's of Social Work this past spring as well. And I am from Kissimmee, Florida. I'm currently in the dual degree program here at FSU. So I am studying both social work and public administration.
And how do you like that program so far? So you've only been doing it now for a semester, right?
Right, yeah, I just started this semester. And so with the transition of like only remote classes from compared to like on-site courses that I'm like used to, it's been interesting to add something into the mix. I'm also a full-time, like I a full-time case manager at a local nonprofit here. And so it's been challenging to say the least, but it's I've been using like my planner, for example, to make sure that I don't miss any deadlines, and I have a calendar as well, like right in front of me. And so I'm constantly reminding myself of things that I have to do, making sure that I meet these deadlines, and keeping up with my coursework.
So since you do mention that it does seem like you are pretty busy. So how does your schedule look like then each day? So how do you incorporate your full-time job with your classes as well?
Yeah, so Monday through Friday, I work 8 to 5, and then Mondays and Wednesdays, I have my lectures. So I have them from 5:30 to 8:15. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I come home from work and then immediately like sign on to my classes. And so it's those are usually like my busiest days, just because I don't have time to do anything else other than homework and work. And so it's yeah, it's just super important to manage my time correctly, make sure that I'm not overly like watching movies, which I love to do, part of like my self-care routine. And so yeah.
Okay, so speaking of self-care routine, what do you do then exactly to kind of keep yourself at bay?
Yeah, so what will happen is that on the days that, so like Mondays and Wednesdays, when those are like specific, like it's super important that I engage in self-care during those days, just because of how jam-packed my schedule is. But what I'll incorporate is like on my way to work and coming back from work, I'll make sure to listen to my music, de-stress. So like I like to listen to lo-fi. That's like instrumental music. It kind of helps me do like mindfulness techniques. And so I'll also like do art, like I'll color. I love to color and paint on like vinyl records. I also read a lot and journal. I love journaling whenever I get the chance to do it. But those are like the gist of what I do to engage in self-care.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know I do kind of similar things to you too. I do like to journal here and there. I haven't done it enough, but I
Right.
think that's really important, especially right now with the whole pandemic. Um,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
What about how do you stay in touch with your friends and family? So, um, me and Michelle are both part of the same sorority, so we literally Zoom all the time. But what do you do, for example, with your family, or like how do you stay in touch with everybody else?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same. So like luckily before I started classes in the like this fall, I would I like use that time to make sure that I got to spend enough physical time with my family, just because I knew that once classes started, I wasn't going to be able to do so. And so now that, I am, like, classes have started, I've just been FaceTiming them, phone calls, like weekly phone calls and stuff. They also kind of have, like, their own things to keep up with. So whenever we are able to do like a family FaceTime, it's like one of the best times. But as far as like our sisters, of course we'll have like our our sister like Zoom calls and stuff. But yeah, like mainly through FaceTime and Zoom really is how I'll be able to keep up with my friends.
Okay, yeah, we do pretty much the similar thing. We do the same thing. I've done the same thing with my family too. Like I have some of them here, but I do have some family also like in Miami and things like that. So I tend to like FaceTime them as well just to kind of see how they're doing because
Right.
it's very hectic. But so I do have one final question. So since it is Hispanic Heritage Month, how are you trying to remain involved with like your roots and your culture during this time? Because I know that everything is really closed and normally there's a bunch of like parades and festivals that they are having around Florida, but because of the pandemic, everything has been kind of postponed and it's like a virtual world basically. So how are you staying in contact with Hispanic Heritage Month and with your culture as a whole?
Yeah, so for one of the main ways is through our sorority Lambda Theta Alpha. So we'll have like our own discussions, like even just like casual conversations. I feel like it's super important to include that, just because we are still having discourse about our heritage. And I mentioned like listening to music earlier, and so I do listen to a lot of Spanish music, different kinds. There's just so many genres within like so like cumbia and and even then there's like subtypes of cumbias. So I love listening to Spanish music on the daily, as well as like watching movies, like Hispanic TV shows, like novelas, but not even like just in informational type of TV shows and documentaries specifically about our culture. And I try to attend some of the virtual events. It's just hard sometimes because of scheduling conflicts. Usually they'll have them like around the time that I'm at work. And so the ones that I am able to attend, I will be. Most of them have been, obviously like virtual events. So it's easier in a sense to attend because it's just through your computer, but it's the timing that kind of takes into play.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. I've been going to some events like with like the certain organizations on campus, but again, it kind of depends on what time they have it, or if I have class, or if I have an event with the sorority. You know what I mean, like virtually. So it just kind of varies. But that was pretty much all the questions. If you want to go ahead and say anything before we end the call, or if you have any questions yourself.
Well, I first just wanted to thank you for inviting me and just considering me to talk about, taking classes online during this pandemic. It affects a lot of us in our own ways, and it's super important to kind of bring that up into light. And although, yes, it's difficult to do grad school and have a full-time job, it is manageable. I definitely suggest to speak to your advisor and work with them. So collaborate with them into making a program map that, will benefit you and take into consideration your workload. Because that's how I'm honestly getting through this semester, is by speaking to my advisor, telling her if I have any issues, remaining in close contact with her and my peers as well, and checking up on them. But thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining us. And I think you're right. I think we should definitely be having conversations with people if we ever have the need to, or to gain any help or just someone to talk to again during this time. It is very difficult and very isolated. So I think it's really important to do that. But like I said, thank you for joining us. And for everybody watching this, we do have multiple videos on our YouTube if you want to go check them out. But yeah, we'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Thanks.